Now from Archaeology News Northeast, the latest archaeology news and interviews from around the UK. This is Tales from the Trowel with Jackie and Sarah.
Well, how it happened was, it was Easter Sunday and we've been doing the excavation on Beck's Chapel at Bishop. So, as a bit of a treat, the Bishop at Durham was doing his Easter sermon on the footprint of the old thing. So, I've got to go really. So I went to metal detector in the morning and found it, and I came out and put it in my pockets. I was quite excited to show Jackie and the archaeologists. You know. So we got there and we got this. I wrote it in the magazine. Do you know on Indiana Jones? You know when they open the Ark of the Covenant in the end and all the ghosts and all the spirits come out. Do you know? I mean, I was thinking I might be sort of convening some sort of ancient prophecy here, but didn't anyway. But we went in for a coffee afterwards, and the Bishop of Durham was there, and I thought, well, he's going to know Latin. He'll know what this is. He didn't. So, but he was pleasant, he was nice, and there was another chap there who is very good friends, but he's very good friends with a gentleman called Martin Hennig, and Martin Hennig is the foremost authority on Roman intaglios. So he said, oh, give me Martin's number and his email address, and he said, oh, just get in touch with him. So that was good. And yeah, he was really kind with his time. I mean, he was academic in some highfalutin museum somewhere, and he was great.
Amazing.
But yeah, so I showed him around and said, when you find something, you want the fanfare. And this is what I was saying about archaeology. There's something missing. If you're on a dig and you find a coin, an artifact or whatever, it's kind of, there's no fanfare. It's like, yeah, okay, put the trench number on. And, that was what context that come out of. Oh, yeah. Can someone small find this? Yeah, hold on, give me 5 minutes. And it's like,
I'll go and do the paperwork.
Yeah, me dancing. There's no moves.
There's no nothing.
No.
So to that end, so you're a Roman brooch. Who do you want to be found by?
Yeah.
Do you want to be found by the archaeologist that's just going to treat you with the legs up like, yeah, it's nice, put it over there? Or do you want someone to dance?
Someone who's got some moves going.
But do you know what, right, Darren? You say this, and I think me and Sarah probably are the exception to the rule. I reckon, because we would dance for lead.
We get excited.
Wouldn't we? We would just get excited by the fact that we'd found something.
I got a door hinge.
Yeah, she did.
It was a door hinge. It was a door hinge and then a bit of lead.
It was, yes, Sarah, you have some door furniture.
I've got
and
door
I thought,
furniture.
I'd never heard of door furniture before, but apparently it's door furniture.
And I was buzzing. I mean, I was excited.
Yeah.
I was really excited. But
basically,
no, you're right.
It was a hinge.
You take it to the higher uppers.
Oh, when you say door furniture, you mean like the handles
Like
and the
a
nuts?
hinge. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Not a table that's been.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Me as well.
Well, I was quite confused when they said door furniture.
Door furniture. And I was like, it looks like a hinge. What do you mean, bloody door furniture? Oh, right, okay, I get it. Swan the update.
But you are right. It's kind of one of those things where there's the two disciplines are separate. They do complement each other.
Yeah. I mean, archaeologists are working to a bigger picture. You've got like certain targets to meet. You've got certain things to establish in a given period of time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't all be standing dancing around over a thing, you know. And you've got a lot of archaeologists will have volunteers with them, or they'll have you've got a duty care to them and all these other things that come with it.
Pack everything up quickly and then get excited once you've washed it and realise what you've got.
One of the good things, though, about having a metal detectorist on site is that they are such a good backup for if you've dug an area and you think, right, this area's done, it's all been recorded. It's so good to have the detectorist just do a sweep. For anything that you've missed, you know, that your eyes didn't. Your trowel could be millimetres from something, and you could miss it. I mean, going back to detectorists again. I mean, that was one of the things, wasn't it, when there was a hoard and they were just millimetres away from it. And without the detectorist's involvement, these things would be lost forever.
Yeah, I mean, particularly going through the spoil heaps as well. I mean, the amount of times things have been shoveled and dumped and not noticed at the time.
There is, do you know, the ring they found at Winchester, the early...
The morning ring. Was it the morning ring?
The one with the fish. It was an early Christian.
Oh, yes, the Winchester ring.
Well, our club used to, as I did initially, I mean, it was before I ever did it, the Gordon and Annabelle used to go on a Thursday and detect the spoil heaps. And it was Gordon and Annabelle that found that ring in the spoils. If the detectors hadn't been on site, that would have gone back into the hole at the end of the dig, and would it have ever been found? So, but they didn't get the sort of accolades they probably should have deserved, because it was never mentioned. I think the gentleman who helps out with the detecting now for Auckland Castle, he found the ring.
That's the one I was talking about, the morning ring, the very small gold ring.
I think they did say it was because I went down to the Faith Museum and they do a little section where you can come and the lead archaeologist, he does a little talk about the thing, and he didn't mention the detectorist finding it. He just said it was found by students at Binchester, which it was. I mean, I guess, but
you find something you'd like to have in here.
There is sometimes
I think that was reattributed to the detectorist, though. In the end, because I was one of the people who was an advocate for him being recognised as finding it, because technically the students had put it in the spoil, obviously unknowing, and he'd come along, detected the spoil and found it. But that spoil had come from a specific area, because it was a spoil that was just purely for this one small trench. So saying that a student had found it was kind of accurate, but not completely accurate. And like I say, it would have never been found if it wasn't for the detectorist to come along, and just double check over everything. I think it's like the detectorists a valuable resource. I mean, that's why I wanted you to come on this podcast today, because I feel like the relationship between detectorists and archaeologists isn't as good as it could be.
No, I mean, talking to especially some of the older guys, there's kind of an us and them.
Yeah.
We had a site, the club, long before me, they had a site and it turned up some really nice things. Did the right thing, they reported it. The site was took off them, the land was scheduled. Farmer wasn't happy, because now he can't, he can graze on his land, but he can't turn it over. And we got pushed out. So they look back at that, but I believe now it's very, very rare that a site will be scheduled.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens now. But there was that, so some of the older boys are really sceptical. So when I said I was going to come and do a podcast with yourselves, I feel like, oh, for Christ's sake,
crossing under the docks.
Yeah, exactly. Don't stop in that grey area. No one's going to like us. But sometimes there's a bit of a us and them. Some of the volunteer archaeologists, I can't speak for the archaeologists, because I only know them like through work, like through doing the things. But some of the volunteer archaeologists, there's quite a few of them. I think we know who I'm talking about here. He really detests the practice of metal detecting.
Yes,
and he hates it, and he thinks it's unethical. He thinks it's unfair. It's kind of cheating.
I was just going to say, I think he looks like he thinks it's cheating.
There's people like yourselves that have done X amount of years of academic study and everything else, and you're not getting a sniff of a Roman coin. And yet someone can pick a metal detector up, go in a field, and they're getting all of the goodies, kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's...
No, I know what you mean, but like I say, because it's still all of our history, we've just got about in a different way of finding it. You know what I mean?
And
say for those who've kind of studied together.
I don't know.
Is it like an elitist? Because we have just like archaeology. Sometimes
I think there is
seems
an
like a bit of an elitist.
See, archaeologists, you've done quite a few years at university, you're very educated, you put things across very well, you can explain things very articulately, and all the rest of it. But it is true. And, you can explain why it's there and what it's there for, where maybe metal detectors are maybe skipping the hard way.
I don't know. For me, I think it's absolutely invaluable. I think that having a detectorist on site is absolute belt and braces when it comes to making sure that you've found and recorded everything that needs to be found and recorded. Like you say, it could have been millimetres away from finding something, but the other person's come along and they're doing their little bit. And it just gets missed.
At Auckland Castle last year, when we were doing outside of Bexchapel, and we were told to sieve everything. You got to sieve it. So we had these riddle sieves, I don't know what you would call them. And the soil was clear. It was a nightmare. So you were half-heartedly doing it. And it was Morris. Morris did it properly, didn't he? And he found, it's like a double-sided Christ on the cross crucifix, and it was absolutely beautiful. So had he done it how he might have done it, had he not been told to sieve, he would never have found that. So it's easy to miss. It's very easy to miss.
Yeah.
So
should work together more. Should definitely come together a bit more.
It is, but I mean, it is worth doing for something like just the variety of finds you can find. Just to go back to some of the finds, and just some of them that really fascinate me is like this coin here, this elliptical coin with the square, is a Japanese mon, which was during the samurai period, but that was found in a field, Camden, to be fair. I mean, what's on Camden for? On the other side of the world.
Samurais in Bishop.
And there's another piece. It's a heel guard. That. It's a heel guard which would have attached. It's like a horseshoe, but it would have attached to a lady's heel. Bronze, I think it's bronze. It's way to one side, so it's been one, but it's got a heart cut out of the middle, and that would have attached, so where her footprints would have been heart. Now there was a thing known as hearts in the sand, and this was in the Civil War period in America, North America, and this indicated your profession, and that profession was prostitution.
Wow.
So if a lady wore this, she was indicating to possible clients that,
a bit like a business card.
Yes. Basically, and it was known as hearts in the sand, and that was found in a field in North Yorkshire. There's no known practice of it in the UK, so is that what it is? They don't know, but there's no other reason that they can think. I mean, why do it?
It's an amazing thing to find.
That is marvellous, because I mean, there was definitely plenty of prostitutes. So to say that some of them might have had
it just wasn't a trend over here.
It just wasn't a fashion trend.
I mean, just for intriguing things, this looks like a lozenge is made of lead. That's a Roman slingshot.
Oh, right.
So that, I mean, if that comes down and hits you,
that's going to
really
sting.
Quite heavy. It's about an inch and just over an inch, and it's quite heavy. That's a Roman slingshot. What the Romans did do, like you do sometimes find the slingshots that have a hole. You know that they have a hole in them. So when they fired them, they'd whistle.
Oh.
So that was like an intimidation. If you hear all these whistles coming at you, you're being strafed with Roman things. So there's loads of little different things.
I didn't know that. I like that.
The book clasp. So
that's beautiful.
They've been in a Bible or something. That was in really, really bad shape, and I was going to throw it away. Chris said, I'll straighten that. And 2 days later, he gives it back. That's as good as new.
Can I have a look at that one?
Yeah, but that would have been just to close a nice book. So
oh, wow. Oh, that's lovely. It's got hinge on one end and decoration with a bit in the middle.
This is a coin by one of the Austrian kings, and that was for services in the First World War, the Great War. Not the First World War, the Great War. Yeah, in a field in County Durham. Why?
Of all things in all places.
Yeah, this is one sort of fascinating. This came from Walsingham. A farmer used to work in a shop, and the farmer said, you can go on my little bit. They only had a little tiny bit of land, a little paddock. And it's a tin, it's a round tin, it's about, an inch and a half diameter. And it's of William Pitt. And there's an image of William Pitt. It's been pressed out of tin. And it's got a little hole in the top, so it's been attached to a door or
to something.
William Pitt. I mean, I'm not very good with UK history, but he was Prime Minister in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Maybe he's on like a little plaque or something. Maybe he's mounted on a...
So he might have been loyalists or just see, to me that's better than a Roman coin because you know it's just
I suppose that's sometimes that one of the things that you'll never know when it comes to finding stuff is like how did it end up here?
What was going on? What were they doing to have all this stuff?
If these ideas could only just talk.
So in front of me here I've got a brooch. So what's this style? What's this style of brooch?
It's a Roman trumpet. I think I'm right in saying trumpet. It's either a knee brooch or a trumpet brooch. I think that's a trumpet. The pin's still intact, which is quite rare. I've never tried to loosen the pin to see if it works still, because it might just ping off. But that'll be again Trajan sort of Hadrian times. It's dated about 95 to 105. First into the 2nd century.
1,900 years old.
Yeah, that's just...
It was very common how they, when they had the togas, they would have fold it over and they would just pin the cloth together. It was just used like a safety pin.
Oh, right, okay.
The safety pin one side and probably the other. That's quite small, but you can find some that are really quite look like crossbows.
Right. It's alright, you come and pop a couple of pictures of these on like the face on our Facebook page, and so people can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
That's sorry, because that is beautiful. And I mean,
it's so delicate as well, isn't it?
Yes, I know, I'm terrified.
Again,
do you reckon that maybe come off a
heavy-handed.
child's clothes?
Could have
do you
been.
think maybe with it being so small?
But the area we did detect that day, there was nothing, absolutely nothing, and just that popped up late in the day. For something else, we went back and still got nothing.
Nothing else.
But it's sometimes you think we live in Bishop Auckland, so you think with having a major Roman fort, you're falling over. So if you've got a medieval castle, you're not. In County Durham, unfortunately, everything's either been open casted or they've had the mines, and a lot of it is lost now. And all the land from Binchester down to Willington, on both sides, it was just all open casted, and the Roman road led through it. So what was lost?
Yeah.
But they do say they took Roman pillars and put them, used them as pit props in the pits and stuff like that.
That's it. A lot was reused and kind of moved, and
it just seems madness, doesn't it?
This is the story with Hadrian's Wall, isn't it? That a lot of the houses along the wall were just repurposed bricks.
I mean, Hexham was built from the wall. I mean, you've got the old jail and like the market place, there's that big archway at Hexham Market. That's all built from stone off here. They just went and pinched it. It was like, you don't need that anymore. Let's build a town. But that's what it was done. That's what it was used. I mean, all of the pins and the lead and the metal out of the roofs of the Roman villas and everything. That was all.
It just goes to show, doesn't it? Like recycling isn't a new thing. It's been going on, repurposing and recycling stuff.
I mean, you get that in the northeast all the time. You leave it alone, it gets stripped. It's already stripped down and repurposed in the blink of an eye. I mean, that's where I'm from.
Where are you from?
But no, it's obviously a northeastern tradition that's lasted for centuries.
We just call it recycling.
Just recycle what's not being used.
So you can't really criticise, can you? Really, it's free purpose items.
Yeah.
I walked along the railway line over the viaduct to Hunwick yesterday. I thought I'd have a little walk along. It was a nice morning, and there's one point where there's a load of stones. They're all being handmade because they've all got the little chisel marks. And so I don't think the industrial, because it would have been, so it's previous, and yet that's just over the river from Binchester. And I thought, I wonder if they've been out of the wall. I was going to put a picture on one of their Facebook pages, but
have they been
you look stupid.
Yeah.
There's one, the Deer Street one, and there's a chap on there who's really got some really fantastic ideas of Peasbridge, and I kind of want him to come and do a talk, so I keep sort of half talking to him, but he just dismisses me every time. Unfortunately, Peasbridge, a lot of the land, are the Ask Estates. They own quite a lot of the land, and Raby Estates own pretty much everything. So there's very little over that way you can detect. There's no one asked. They won't let you on, so there's no point asking them. So, but we have done little areas around it, little pockets around it, and we have found some interesting things. And I thought it might just be interesting for him, but it's slightly. I'll keep chipping away at him. I might get to talk to him.
Did you get to do any detecting over at Walworth?
No, did I? When we did the archaeology there? Yes. No, I don't. Did we? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I wasn't there every. I wasn't there every day, so I don't know. I just sort of know what happened the days that I was there.
I must have done, but I don't remember much.
Right.
There was no coinage or anything.
No.
I do remember on one of the first days we were there, and I found a jewel. It was like a diamond or a sapphire or something like that. It was a jewel. And I said to Stephen, it's a jewel. And we give it to, I can't remember the team that did that then.
It's an archaeological practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I found a stone. I think it was glass, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
But no, it just got whisked away and you never heard any more about it. So,
that could have been your pension.
I think we did. It could have been. You wouldn't get to keep it anyway. But we did. I'm sure I did take my detector, and I'm sure it was pretty. It shouldn't have been, because it was a DMV, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe. So it should have been. We did the field from there back up, and we thought it was going to be amazing. No, it wasn't.
Right.
Nothing. I think there was maybe a couple of coins found, but very little. And that leads down into what was the DMV. And Ulnaby's the same.
Well, I was going to say Ulnaby's sort of like the other end of the road, isn't it? And basically you've got a DMV, a castle, and a DMV, and it's just bizarre how you've literally got a mile away from each other. These two villages had just disappeared.
Yeah. Because there would have been I can't remember the name of the village. As you go out of Peasbridge towards Scotch Corner on the left.
Summerhouse?
Or after that. Is it before? Before Summerhouse, there's a... Anyway, there would have been that village, there'd have been High Connerscliff, there'd have been Walworth, and the Walworth Castle. Then you've got right up to Heinton. They would have all been linked at one point.
Yeah.
And we've been in that area, but we don't really get much.
Yeah.
I
know Time Team went up to Alnaby, didn't they? They did an episode up there. It's on YouTube if anybody's interested in having a look at that.
It's a pretty decent episode. They don't find a lot.
No.
It's like they did with Amsley. The Amsley one I thought was going to be amazing. The castles, was it the castles of Amsley? the fortification. There's a fortification. It's like 5 metre walls and stuff like that, and nothing. But the Winchester one is.
Yes.
It is the best of every time team, isn't it?
Yeah. Although maybe
it
was just just that in the name of it, would they call it the Mausoleum Street or something?
Street of the Dead.
Street of the Dead. Yeah. It was a little bit Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, you're on YouTube, and they're definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
There was one. There was like best 3 forts ever on Time Team, and I watched it, and I thought, I don't want to know what they are. And they went through the first 2. One was some sort of military thing, and Time Team, the Winchester's the third one, and it's like,
it's brilliant when we get a little notice. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But when they did that, the Time Team, it was our club. Our club was approached by, whether it was Time Team or it was Durham County Council, to supply a metal detectorist, and I think what happened was whoever was on the top table at our club, they sent the son. So I don't think it was open to everybody. But no, they went and they helped. I think, when they found the socket, when Phil finds the socket to the mausoleum where they would have opened the door.
Right. Oh, yes.
Just waggle your machine. Sounds pathetic, I know. So just waggle your machine over there and goes, oh, there's a socket in there. How the devil do that? I don't know. Anyway.
That's a good impression.
Yeah, it's not. So, no, it's seen as I think it's a noble hobby, I think.
Yeah.
I think, it's, when you see a lot of stuff online, they say, oh, I've rescued this today. And I think a lot of detectorists see it as that you're rescuing things from the plough or from building sites or anything like that. So I think it's quite a noble hobby. But I will say it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
There's lots of people come into it and they're very keen for a short space of time. And then they sort of wane interest a little bit. They buy machines and you see. So there's always lots of good second-hand machines. So
I was told that I need to join or to register as a detectorist.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't done it yet. So I don't know what the process is. I don't know if you could talk us through that.
I mean, there is a few governing bodies out there. So, like, organise it. Yeah, the NCMD, which is the National Council for Metal Detectorists. I think it's got over 30,000 members. So what you do, I think it's about £8 a year, £8 or £9 a year. And if you go online, I think you get 3 years for the price of 2. So it's really worth doing. If you register with them, there is perks. There's if you find a hoard of coins, there's a pot of money available to help you excavate it. If you would have to, but you don't. You hand that over to the archaeologists, so people who know what they're doing, they can get stuff. I want to come back to hoards. So what you do, but also you get public liability insurance. So if you're on a farm and a bull escapes because of your neglect and something gets done, there is a thing. I've never heard of anyone having to claim, but there is something there just to protect you. And if you do any organised digs, if you go on any organised stuff at all, they probably will insist that you have an NCMD card. So that's definitely worth having. And also, if you wanted any advice, they're there as well. But also, it's recognised by the British government. So, especially during COVID, when they started making these ridiculous, no more than 6 people in the fields, which was ridiculous. 35
You're in a field.
You're in a field. You've got to have masks on. Anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah.
So they can lobby if the government bring, because it all comes, metal detecting comes under like sports and recreations. If they do bring certain things out, there is people that will fight your corner. Plus, when it goes to value, if you do find something that's treasure, and it gets taken from you, they do the due diligence on it, and a museum wants to purchase it. It then goes to an independent sort of committee to assess the value of the property. The NCMD will be invited on that, so you've always got a representative that's in theory fighting your corner to be with them.
To have that.
So it's best to get one. It's not imperative, but if you go on any organised
even for sort of like the insurance, I mean it's worth it just purely for that, isn't it? I mean the extra bonuses of those things you were talking about, you know what I mean? It's just an added extra, isn't it?
But if you go to a farm, it's always, if you say, "Oh, can I go on your land?" and they say, "Look, we are covered. There is public liability, because in theory you're a guest on his land, so you're covered by his public liability. So really, if you fall down and hurt your leg, you might be responsible. So if you say you've got your own, it does upset it. But just saying about the hoard thing, it just made me think. In our club we found a hoard, or one of the members found a hoard. It's about 2015. It's the largest Roman hoard found in the north of England, found in Yorkshire. I don't know whereabouts it was at the time. He found that, and Sunday we couldn't get in touch with anybody, so he camped out, stayed overnight. Anyway, so the archaeologists took it, and the amazing thing is, and as you know, they take it down layer by layer, and they're getting like pollen samples from each layer, or like a beetle was in it, and how they took it down. So if you do find a hoard, like don't just take the coins out, you know, let someone assess it. Don't think, let's turn it upside down, how many have we got?
Like a pirate treasure.
So, you know,
I mean, that's obviously become like a wealth of information there, isn't it? Yeah.
There was the chap from York Museum come to do a talk, and he said we've gleaned as much knowledge from the pot and what the contents, and because they say, look, they're all Constantine coins. They're Constantine, I think his son is Augustus, I think he was, and it changed. So the coins are being deposited over time. So
that kind of you could kind of see not only what the coins looked like or this, that and the other, but how they were using them.
The coins were more modern towards the top. So for what reason we don't know, but they got a lot from that. Plus they knew from pollen samples and dendrochron, is that the word?
Yeah, that's the one.
Thank you, Tantin. And so they could glean.
But I mean, like looking at the pollen samples, they can then have a look at that and see the environment. They would know what plants, what trees were growing. Because obviously, you know, a farmer's field would just be flat. But obviously, you know, back in the day, there would have been trees and bushes and all sorts of wild plants and things. They can get that from the samples that they take.
1,850 coins in this pot.
Wow.
So the video is on YouTube of them all doing it. If you like swear words.
Sounds like my favourite video.
They're all like happy swear words, I think. But Dave did that, and it was in all the papers. Local Hartlepool man, because the papers love a story. Do you know, at the beginning, when you get a news story, or if you search for detector and things on the internet, there's algorithms in place to bombard you with stories. And there's always like, during lockdown I was bored, so I bought a cheap detector off Amazon, whatever, and I went out and I found some Viking treasure. I'm sure it happens, but
not that often.
There was just something 2 days ago in the Express about a guy who's just found a hoard, and it's the exact same thing, where he said he had his detector, he's been out twice, this is the second time, and he's found gold. And it's like, it's just so unbelievably rare. Do you know what I mean? To find gold, let alone a hoard. You know,
on your second out.
On your second out.
There's people who've done it for years and they've got the best equipment and they don't get a sniff of gold. But at least chance. Any machine, even the cheapest machines in the world, will detect. It's just, you know, it's I think there is a scene on the Detectorist when they're sitting in a little chef somewhere, and then there's something on the telly, and I think Andy has a few choice words to say about it. But another thing as well, when Lance, so we're advertising for these now, when Lance finds his astle, and he's in the pub, and there's someone coming down from the local rag, if you like, to do an interview, and he comes down, he says, so what have you found then? He said, it's an astle. He said, I'll just put pirate gold or something. And he says, right. So he said, what are you going to do with your money? He's like, I haven't really thought about it. I'll put a holiday of a lifetime and all that. Right, I'll see you later. And they're off. But don't you think they're not interested? They just want like a sensational headline. And I think this is what push it, I think, when people say. It doesn't happen, does it? I mean, I've found some lovely things, but there is people now.
There's no to retire on yet.
No. I mean, there's a lot of coins there. If you sold them on, you wouldn't get £200.
But each one tells a story, doesn't it? You know, of the day that you found it.
The story of the thing is, you start to learn about British history more and more and more, because you find, it's Edward IV coin. You think, right, what did he do? So you start reading about Edward IV. You think, that happened then, did it? No, that happened then. So it does. It does as a tool for knowledge.
Bring you in.
This is one of the things for me with archaeology, was it was about context that I didn't understand. I would do something, something, I would dig somewhere and I would be like, but I don't understand. How does this fit in with what else was happening in and around?
Yeah.
And obviously you find a coin and that tells you so much. I mean, literally the information that's in a coin is, you've got dates, you've got images, you've got words. It's a whole little history, a mini sort of contextual chunk of information just right there,
And that's the thrill, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, you know yourself, when you uncover something and you're the first person to touch it in however many years, and that's a bit of a thrill, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But when I first started, that the Victorian penny, that was the best thing in the world. And I went to my Spinks book, I wonder what this is worth. And in mint condition, it's worth £2. You think that's not mint condition?
I wouldn't say mint. No.
You think, well, it's a bit worn, so it's worthless. But that's not the thing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was the most amazing thing. But when you start going on organised digs and on interesting land, and you start finding Romans and stuff like that, suddenly people are starting to throw these in the scrap bucket.
Yeah. I think for us it's kind of like clay pipes.
Yeah.
The first time I ever found a bit of a clay pipe, I was so excited. I'd found a little bit of history. I had it in my hand and I was so excited by it. And just before I finished at uni, I was doing some post-excavation work on some finds that had been brought up from a clay pipe factory in Newcastle that had been excavated, and there was buckets and buckets and buckets of bits of clay pipe, whole clay pipe, some unfired clay pipes, and I just, the sparkle's gone now. The sparkle is complete. Show me a piece of clay pipe and I'm just okay.
But what I do, it's kind of grounding, I think. You've had Gary Bankhead, and he did the River Hunters.
Yeah.
Well, Gary did the River Hunters with Bo we met. Bo's I don't know if he's Canadian or he's North American anyway. Bo's fantastic, and he's they call him the YouTube sensation, and I guess he kind of is. And he posts a video every day, and he might be detecting rivers, he might be detecting land, he might be raking around an old barn. Bo's fantastic, I watch Bo all the time. But he's out there in America, and he's looking for a Civil War. And if he finds a Civil War bullet, a lead bullet, a 2-ring, 3-ring bullet, he's made up. That's his day. We're chucking them away. We say, bloody bullets, we're chucking them away.
Yeah.
And yet I know they don't
just as excited as if it's the first time.
Yeah. But he's over the moon with stuff that we were disappointed in. So it kind of makes you think, you know what, we're really lucky in this country.
Yeah.
There is, as for us in this country, we're covered by the what's ours? There's the treasure trove in Scotland, and ours is just the Treasure Act, I think 19, whatever it is. So if it's treasure, we have to report. If it's more than 300 years old, we have to report it. But in Scotland, you have to report everything.
Yeah.
They are slightly stricter in Scotland than us. But they're reported. It'll get disclaimed and given back anyway. But I forgot the point I was going to make. But in what was the point I was going to make there? But no, Bo, and he's out there, and he's just excited by everything.
Yeah.
And yet we're just not
getting disappointed.
And so it kind of
we get a little bit complacent with the finds, maybe. Yeah.
There is some really fantastic YouTube people out there who do videos. I can't remember all the names, but there is a lot, and they're fantastic. And there's something pretty sort of watchable about a bloke wandering around a field, talking rubbish.
Although it's kind of in the same vein. I've been quite interested in the mudlarkers on the Thames, you were saying about finding your bomb, and this lady found a handgun. But it was a Colt handgun that was just sort of buried with concretion on it. It was just, and you just say, of all the things to find, and then next to it she found a 3-holed button, and she said that it was like such a rare thing because obviously buttons have 4 holes in, or they sometimes have the loop on the back, and this was and so like she was ecstatic over a button, and it drew me back to Detectorists again with the collection of buttons and the talk on buttons, and I thought, I think I'm turning into. I might be turning into a bit of a detectorist here because I quite like buttons.
Yeah, you get an appreciation. But I'd love to do that. I'd love to do the mudlarking on the Thames.
Yeah,
I think you have to go. Through, you've got to go through the Thames Port authorities and things like that, and you can only detect between high and low tide. But you can't. I think it's different. In certain areas, you can't detect it all. It's eyes only. So you just have to wander, look, and you're kicking things over.
Yeah, she didn't have a machine or anything.
No,
she was
certain
just,
areas have certain things, but they always seem to come up with the goods. But these YouTube videos, if a guy's out in the field, you think he's finding something you think, he's found something else here. But I'm sure there's probably 2 hours between the clips.
Yeah.
But I love watching them. It's pretty sad because I put them on. I use YouTube a lot rather than normal TV now, and I'll put Bo on a night, and but now this is an interesting thing. I don't know how true it is. Gary Bankhead came to do a talk at our club, and he brought us a prize in for our raffle. And Bo had given him this, it was a fines pouch or something like that, Garrett's. Bo had given it. So he said, you can have that. I've got no use for it. It was Bo's. And I said, I was born. He said he's an animal. He said he finds so much. He's just unbelievable. He said he's in and he finds all sorts. But on the river hunters, they don't really find anything. They find very, very little.
Right.
And I said, I suggested to Gary. Now Gary never said yes or no. And I said, you can't be seen to be finding loads of stuff. For one, you don't want people going in rivers because if they drowned,
absolutely,
you're going to be responsible. So I said, you must have been finding more. And he never answered us. And I said, surely you must have.
He'd be keeping it up for future episodes.
But it occurred to me that if they show you finding loads and everyone says, right, let's get in the rivers and someone drowns or something happens, they can't be held responsible. So I tend to think they must have withheld.
Maybe.
I mean, Bo goes to him in America, he's in the streams in America, and he's finding... he finds loads of mobile phones. So I don't know how careless Americans are with mobile phones.
Couple of handguns, some phones.
But he finds loads of guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he's over the moon with the simplest things, and yet he comes over to do the Detectival, which is like the big UK one. They have like hundreds of acres and there's thousands of people. I can't see the point. It's just like ants in the field. But he comes over to do them, and they have scrap buckets where people chuck in the scrap. He sits by the scrap buckets going, look at this. I can't believe it. So, but no, he's excellent. I like watching him. I'm not affiliated. I don't get any money.
I'm just a fan.
Yeah. So, but so it's 8 years for me, so I'm an expert. There is guys out there, and they're really good. Especially with things like hammered coins. It's you find a coin, I haven't got a clue. They all look the same to me. The monarchs are pretty much the same. If you can just say read around the outside. But they'll know, so that's a Stephen, that's a Henry, that's a Groat, that's a father, and what. And it's like, it's unbelievable how they know. It's like there's a dark art to it.
Yes.
I've got the magazine in front of us, and I'm going, right, is it, you've got to get the money, you've got to get the whatever. Yeah. It's quite, on the back of the coin, they have, in the segments, they've got like 4 quadrants, and it'll have like Civitas, and then the mint. So it'll have like Civitas London, or Civitas Dunelm, or whatever. And just by that little information, they'll say, wait, it's so. Just post them on the internet. Just post them on the internet, and there's 1,000 people out there, I'll tell you exactly.
Yes.
Exactly what you found and where it's from.
That's the best way. But I mean, but one thing you need to do, you need to keep any properties you have to detect and to keep it close to your chest, really. You don't want to upset anybody, you don't want to upset farmers. I mean, if someone finds out you found a gold astle on the land, there'll be 100 people on there on a night. So you just keep it close to your chest. Yeah,
and that's where the good thing about joining not necessarily your club, but a club where you go out together so much better, isn't it, than detecting on your own?
It is. I liked it on my own at first, but I've got no interest now. I could go out, but I just think there's no fun in that.
Yeah.
Because you park your car up, you always think you're looking, is my car all right over there? Or who's that walking along? And the amount of people that jump over the fence, hey mate, have you found out? It's like, oh no. Do you know, I'm the detectorist again, sorry. But it is a point of reference for
it is, people. Isn't it?
It's when Lance is digging and there's a Rambling Society come past and they say, have you found gold? It's exactly like that. So I mean, Mackenzie's done this from a detectorist point of view, and it's kind of spot on. Even down to the club thing. You know, I mean, we've all got our own sort of Terry.
Yeah, I mean, it is the only thing. I mean, like for us with the archaeology, you know, like when we were at Binchester and there would be open days, people could come and have a bit of a talk and see what we were doing. And that would be the first question on anybody's lips is, have you found anything?
Yeah.
And then it's, have you found any gold? You know what I mean? Have you found treasure? And treasure's subjective, as we
That's
know.
just what I was going to say,
You
yeah.
know.
Because I mean, you know, somebody wants a gold coin. I'm looking for a skull. You know, I want a bone. I want something like that. That's going to get me excited. Whether you can keep your jewels. You know what I mean? You do the jewels. I'll do the bodies.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
Deal.
That's what I get excited.
So I guess that leads back into like some detectives, some archaeologists are not as enthused about a coin as they are about a line of 3 stones.
That's it. Everybody's
So,
kind of got that little niche, that little interest.
it's just because we specifically are looking for small finds. So that's, you know, if you've got like such a focus on one thing, then you see people, you know.
I mean, coins are fantastic for history, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're going to find an archaeologist, no matter what area they're in, that doesn't get excited by a bit of a coin.
Yeah, and I mean, there's your date and evidence right there, isn't it?
Well,
You
that's
know?
it. You've got a lot from a coin.
Yeah.
It is nice as well to post them on different websites, different Facebook pages, and you post, say, oh, can anyone help us with this? I found it here, and then and they'll say, oh, well, it's a so and so, and then you get people and they say, oh, it's a nice find that, and then it's the ticks in it and the thumbs up.
Yep.
You find yourself, oh, I haven't got any more. And you go, I'm sure everybody does this. It's some sort of dopamine thing, isn't it?
No, definitely not.
You think, oh, it's slowed down today. I've got 4 ticks yesterday, I've got none today. But very good.
I need a metal detector now.
You should get one.
I want some coins. I love the pots you've got them in.
The thing is with them, they either you can't get them open.
Professional.
You can't get them open, or you
that.
can't keep them closed.
Yeah.
I love them.
I mean, when I did this, I thought, God, I really didn't realise how many I found. And the funny thing is, when I see them, I can pretty much say, I remember getting that one from so-and-so.
Yeah.
So each one tells a story.
Good memories.
They are, absolutely.
I mean, I can tell you, especially with the Romans, I can tell you probably everywhere.
I mean, that's...
And none. Well, I think one's from the Binchester area, but the rest, no.
Right.
I live on Binchester doorstep, and you're just not permitted.
No, they are absolutely...
One thing did annoy us. Do you know where the... I don't know if we still record or not.
Is it?
But you know where the river goes round at Binchester Bend?
Yes.
And it's all eroding. I love to go down, basically because I like rivers. I love the way the rivers move and all that, but it's really eroded all that backside really quite heavily. And you do find a lot of Samian ware.
I was going to say, I've seen some of the pot that you've found from down there.
I've never ever took a metal detector down, because it didn't seem right. But I'd just like to go down and just see how it's coming away. But you do find loads of pot.
Yeah.
Stephen goes down regular. He finds bits and pieces. But
just poking through.
there's got to be loads of stuff in that bank side.
Oh, yeah.
Pottery and stones and stuff. So
There'll be plenty around.
it just fascinates me. It just really fascinates me. They'll find me washed up along the river. I can't swim.
I was just having a look.
But but I was down there once and a car pulled up, and I was a little bit further along and my car was there. Are you concerned about your car? 2 lads jumped out, metal detector out the boot and up the path. So no, they don't care, do they?
No, I'm just kidding on with you.
So really, I mean, people say, oh, just get on. You can't.
Yeah.
No.
You can't.
Yeah.
And as for people who go night hawking, which is like the
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to talk about that or whether we were...
It's the sinister side of metal detecting. And it's where people go out at night on scheduled monuments and areas of special interest and detect at night.
Yeah.
Maybe they find things, but I can't see the fun.
No.
Yeah.
In the black dark, I mean, we go on land that's promising in the daytime and we find nothing. So I can't think 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, mooching about at night.
Yeah, I can't see the fun in it, but it does happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do it. And
We had a field at Binchester that we were working on, and we'd finished for the day, packed up everything, put away, came back the next day, and the trench edges were full of holes.
Right.
Where they just I presume, sort of swiped the detectors around the edges and then took stuff out. But it was outside of the area that we were permitted to dig. So it was taking stuff that Well, we don't know what they took.
No,
Yeah.
And
we don't. No.
you know what I mean? It's gone forever,
Yeah,
and it could be that one piece of history that meant that, I don't know, like a certain Roman emperor or general was here, and that indicated that he'd come to, you know, to Binchester, and it's lost. We would just never know.
Well, that's it, and it's like what you were saying before. As far as like monetary value, they're not worth a great deal.
No.
But from a historical perspective,
Yeah.
they're priceless. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, if you've got somebody just kind of looking for the treasure, or, you know, out at night and just kind of looking for what they can get, and it's like, well, it's not really going to be worth your while, you know what I mean, for that, unless you're going to sit and write a book about it and publish it so everybody finds out the history of the object, or whatever.
We did find a coin in the northeast that they're quite common. They're quite common in the south of England. They find them quite regular, and they're not really a big deal. But we found one in the north of England, but that is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it's a location. It's not the coin.
It's where it was found.
It's because it's like, well, why is that there? So, you know, and because it was rare, you report it, and we've never heard word back, but it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see what that happens with that when it comes
That
out.
brings up.
It wasn't a particularly spectacular coin either. It was like, we don't
Out
find
of
them.
place.
You do find a lot of what they call European contemporary forgeries or copies. Sterling coins in like the 12th and 1300s were seen as superior. So some of the European countries used to copy them, really copy them. So you do find some of them, and especially with the wool trade in the likes of North Yorkshire, there's a big wool trade. So there was always a trade flow from some of the like the Benelux countries and stuff like that. So you do find a lot of foreign coins, which is weird. But
more than you would expect.
More than you would expect, yeah. I mean, then obviously someone's had that as a play thing and stuff like that. I don't expect Camden's had many samurais, but no, you do find stuff, and again, it's just trade. Yeah, it's trade.
Yeah,
you find.
It'll be interesting to do some research on it though, and to find out if there's some sort of connection. You know, if there's there's been. Like, you know, a group of people travelling through. It'd just be nice to, to
have a little look.
Yeah.
But I mean, in days of empire, I guess it was seen as a thing. You go to another country, botanists bring plants back, and I can't say numismatists. I can't say that word. But they might bring coins back.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
It's just a bit of it's better than candy.
It's a rabbit hole for someone. On these dark winter evenings to do some research about summarising counting.
But that's another thing on dark winter evenings. You need to be careful of rabbit holes. End up injured.
This is why we advise against night hawking because of the rabbit holes.
People, I don't know anyone who does it, but people do it, and it just brings. I think that's what brings the hobby into a disdispute a little bit anyway. It does people think, you're up to no good. But most detectorists are very keen amateur archaeologists, or they're very keen historians, and they just like to be out in the countryside, really. I mean, I've never met a bad one yet, really.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't beat it for, like you say, for being sociable. You know, for being fun, for getting your steps in. You know, it's brilliant. Yeah. I've loved. I mean, like I say, I've only been out twice, just before Christmas, and I didn't find anything. It was bitterly cold. But you know, you put your layers on, and you get your waterproofs on, and you get your head down, and you've got your headphones on. You're listening to your beeps, and you know, trying to learn your machine a bit. So yeah, it's good fun.
The cold's a killer. The wind.
Yeah.
You've got your headphones on. People say, why do you wear headphones? Well, you can hear better because your battery lasts longer because you know you're not using the speakers. But if it's windy and it howls, and it's when you think, you get a headache very quickly. Last Sunday we're out, it was freezing. It's like this morning, and you just buy cheap gloves out of B&M Bargains or whatever, and they rubber. But they seem to work in the reverse. Instead of warming your hands up, they seem to cool them down. And you got your spear on your shoulder, and it's like, oh, my fingers. So you go to that side, and you think, what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
But every year you think, I'm going to miss this winter, I'm not going to do it. But then you see where you're on the weekend, you think, I can't miss.
Yeah.
I can't miss. Because and you mightn't find anything, but it's just, you don't want.
But you might.
Else.
That's it.
And that's when you know you've definitely been bitten by the bug.
Yeah. that we found one out, and I get almost 9, more than 9 and 10 I'm out. One I missed. They found a hoard of Edward III coins or something like that, which are now in Richmond Museum.
Oh.
And they found them, and it's just, and they were saying, "Oh, we're going back on that field again." And I didn't feel as though I should.
Right.
It's just I thought,
Yeah.
well, I'm not part of this. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel I can't go on that field now. It's weird. I don't know why. We've done all right as a club. We've done all right.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Uh-huh.
So what's your, have you got any talks coming up?
No.
No guest speakers?
We've
No.
barely got a venue.
Oh, so what's happened with your venue?
It's the last venue we had. Well, everything got closed because of COVID, but in that closed period, the publican or the brewery decided they're going to close it. So we started meeting in a Wetherspoons type thing in March here.
Right.
Started meeting there, which was good. So we've been meeting at Bennymoor lately, which has been great. It's pretty oldie worldy type club, but unfortunately the lady who worked around the bar, she's moving on to bigger and better things. So we've got to.
And then you.
The trick is locality, because we've got people from like above Newcastle. We've got a guy from Worksop.
Yes.
Comes all the way from Worksop, but he travels up. Not every week now, because he's getting on in his years, but mainly pretty locally. So, but still on a Wednesday night, who wants to trail out on a dark, cold Wednesday night?
Yeah.
For an hour meeting, so you've got to keep it interesting. So we try and get talks.
So is this just like once a month? Is it that you get together?
Once a fortnight.
Once a fortnight.
Once a fortnight.
Right.
Yeah. Surprisingly, we missed fortnight at Christmas time, and you kind of miss it because it's just in your routine, isn't it? And when it breaks your routine, you're like, I want to do it now. But it is good. We try and get talks. We've had some really good talks. Gary's done 2 talks. He's excellent. A chap from the British Museum come and did a talk. A lad from Dixon, Noonan Webb came to do a talk about coins and say that word. Can you say it? Numismatists.
No.
Numismatics.
Numismatics.
I said archaeology wrong last week. Go on,
yes.
Say what does a woodchucker chuck?
I'm not even going to attempt it.
No, we do okay as a club, and we're quite self-contained at the minute, so it's quite good. But there will be membership. Every year, people say, "Oh, I'm not going to renew this year," so we go from April to April. No, we do it. We've just had we have a coin of the year, an artifact of the year, then we have the find of the year, then we have the detectorist of the year, and so I've been to order all the trophies this morning before I came here.
Oh, fantastic!
It's quite stressful, because you're getting people's names right. You're getting this right. And it's like, then if it's done, and hopefully we can have our presentation night, and we have our auction. We have a club auction. It's after Christmas. So anything you got for Christmas, we bring it into the auction and we try and auction them off.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But bless her, Wendy's a bit of an artist. She's really good. So she's painted this big seascape. It's brilliant. You only go for 20 quid. I mean, you don't necessarily spend £100 on a painting at a joke raffle. But Wendy's, she's I don't want to discuss some of the people, but she's lived a life.
Is she the lady that's in the group picture that you sent me?
Yeah, will be. She's doing a handstand.
No.
No, there's one where she's doing a handstand.
Okay.
She's in the 70s.
This is just a lineup.
She was a makeup artist in New York in the times when I think New York was quite fun. So she's done a lot. She's brilliant. She's brilliant, and she metal detects, and she's out every week. She doesn't find a great lot, but she's out every week, and she never misses. Oh. And she's in the 70s. She's fitter than all of us. Quite a long way as well.
I intend on doing that. Just still carrying on doing what I want to do, what I love to do. Do you know what I mean?
Just keep going.
Age is just a number.
It is.
My knees are not, though.
Yeah.
Depends. We'll see. I'll ask them in a couple of years.
Yeah, maybe you have to take hot water bottle with me and some Raljacks.
You did a lot of walking, didn't you, last year, the year before? You remember me saying?
Yeah.
And you were on about your steps, and you were doing like a phenomenal amount of steps.
Yeah, during COVID.
Is that when it was?
Yeah.
I tried. You've got this watch, and you think, it encourages you. So from my house into town and back, it's only 9,000 steps. It's miles.
Yeah, to a smaller
it's so
step.
disheartening.
Your stride's too long, that's what it is.
You know what I mean? Our tiny legs together.
Is he shuffling?
Shuffle, that's what it is.
But it's the reverse when you go metal detecting. You walk around a field all day and you've only done 400 meters. Think what was that?
Oh, so I mean, some days I look at mine and I think, wow, I've done like 120 steps, and that was just to the fridge and back.
Yeah.
Love it. Anyway, do you think we should leave it there?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back next time with more Tales from the Trowel. Make sure you like, follow and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Tales from the Trowel, an Archaeology News Northeast production in association with Pitmatic Productions.